Very interesting conversation there. Of course, let's now move into other cheerful news. Olive?
Yes, indeed. We do have some very exciting news. Does the name Orire Agbaje ring a bell? Well, it might interest you to know that Orire Agbaje is a 400-level student in the economics department of the University of Ibadan. And at just age 21, she has been appointed as a member of the prestigious Nigerian Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms. This appointment recognizes Orire's exceptional talent and expertise in fiscal policy, taxation, and economic reforms.
The Nigerian Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms comprises top-notch professionals from various sectors and is responsible for advising and providing strategic guidance on fiscal and tax-related policies that aim to stimulate economic growth, enhance revenue generation, and promote fair taxation practices in Nigeria. Joining us this morning on Breakfast Central is Orire Agbaje. She is the President, Tax Club, University of Ibadan, and Student Representative, Presidential Committee for Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Great to have you here. Congratulations on your recent appointment. The youngest member of the President Bola Tinubu's Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms. Now, let's talk about how you've been able to work yourself to get to this point. What would you say are some of the things or the elements that you think stood you out and made you worthy of this appointment?
I would say it's dedication and commitment. Staying true to what you do, not being found everywhere, just staying true to being dedicated to what I do. So I've always loved taxation since my first encounter with it and began to pursue it. This led me to join the tax club, and I'm always posting about their activities. I think this is what led me to stand out. That's why Mr. Taiwo Oyedele nominated me to come and give the vote of thanks at his inauguration. He said what I did aligns with his values and his ethics, and I was grateful for the opportunity. So I would say dedication and consistency.
Wow, indeed, the dedication and consistency has brought you this far. You're the president of the Tax Club at the University of Ibadan and the Nigerian University's Tax Club. You also do have a background in economics, if I'm correct. How do you think that your leadership experiences have prepared you for this role? Which, first of all, I should ask, did you see it coming?
I did not see it coming. I thought I was just going to give a vote of thanks, and just became something else entirely.
And that's good. That's good news, and that's great news. We've been advocating to see more young people being, brought into policy decision making and reforms to ensure that they can reflect the thoughts and the minds of the current situation, because we know we do have a strong audience that are full of young people. So how would you say that your experiences, your leadership experiences, have prepared you for this? What are some of the things that you say you've learned that be able to prepare you for this unanticipated role?
I think my leadership experiences so far has laid a foundation for me to learn commitment, for me to learn teamwork, for me to learn collaboration and strategic thinking. So all these has given me the background, the foundation to contribute effectively.
Okay, and I also want to talk about, we're talking taxation, fiscal policy and the likes. What would you say, from your, study, what would you say Nigeria needs in order to fix its, problems with taxation? Nigerians, of course, complaining, here and there, there are different levels with, of complaints. But what would you say, and what kind of advice would you give the current administration?
Okay, first thing I would like to clarify is that taxation is the main source of income for the government. So we have to pay tax. This is why taxation is a compulsory levy. So in the case of Nigeria, we have this issue of multiple taxation. And that is the key issue that the Presidential Committee for Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform has set to tackle. So when the multiple taxation is out of it, everyone will be able to take tax and see what their money is doing. There will be accountability. Drawing one insight from His Excellency's speech during the inauguration, he said he's going to tax the fruit and not the seed. So I think that is the beginning of a new setting. And we should just be calm and look at how this will all turn up. But I'm sure it's going to be positive.
All
We're
right.
going to see changes.
We do hope to see changes in, when it comes to conversations about tax. We'd like you to give us give us insight into the significance of this committee's composition, which certainly includes experts from both the private and the public sectors, and how your participation reflects a diverse and holistic approach to tax reforms.
The committee it cuts across. The secretary was able to reach everybody, including the youth, which is why he included the University Tax Club in the committee. So it's just to touch base and to allow everyone to be accountable so that everyone's voice will be heard and there will be no controversy whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Nigerian economy, just before we wrap up, Nigerian economy is definitely really, really tough. There's many Nigerians frustrated, some of them, of course, even thinking that they're overburdened with taxation. You've, mentioned multiple taxation, which must be, it's a problem that must be fixed. Yes, I think a lot of people agree with that. But of course, there's also conversations on widening the tax bracket and, having Nigerians even pay more taxes. We are, definitely paying more for petrol now, likely to pay more for electricity in a bit. What would you suggest, all right? I know that you've given your seed versus fruit narrative, but would you suggest that Nigerians pay more taxes or that we increase the number of Nigerians that are able to pay taxes? Where would you, what advice would you give?
I would say that we increase the tax brackets in this form. For a business, let's say for an SME that has let's say a monthly income of like 20,000 and is paying about 6,000 to 7,000 for taxation, and there is another company that is earning millions in its financial report, and they're not even paying up to 10%. That way, the bracket is too much. So those that are earning higher should be able to pay more taxes. Because looking at it, they even have more activities that will be taxed. But for the small businesses or small ownership, they should be able to pay small because their activities are limited. So that's the way I see that we can move forward from here. Increasing the amount of taxes Nigerians pay will solve the issue, but it will also be a burden on Nigeria because the economy is really tough now.
All right.
So that can be like a standpoint or taxing those with larger income and those with smaller income will be taxed lesser.
Orire Agbaje, we certainly look forward to having you after spending some time as a part of this committee to see how much work and progress has been done. And we hope to see, to be able to say proudly to Nigerians that whilst they're paying their tax, we can see the effect of what the tax is being used to make life better for Nigerians. We certainly look forward to having you join us again, and all the best on this new journey.